So I realized that I should have done this video around the time I did the Nidocris Alter video, where I was comparing how all the different arts loopers compare to one another and kind of finding out who was the best among all of those loopers. I should have done one for Quick and Buster, but you know, better late than never, I always say. And I've gone ahead and I've made a little bit of a spreadsheet for these Quick servants, and then I've also got one that I'm doing for the Buster servants, but that one's a little bit more odd because of Koyenskaya giving people special damage mods. That can get a little bit weird, a little finicky, so that one's going to be coming out later, even though I think it makes more sense to come out first because Koyenskaya is coming out on NA. But in today's video, we're going to talk about the Quick servants. Now, I have chosen a very specific set of Quick servants to talk about here, and I'll kind of explain that. Edmond Dantes is pretty much like the OG quick farming guy. You have to pay him his respects. You have to have him on these lists because he's still not bad even to this day. He can still definitely get the job done, especially if you're somebody that went pretty hard on getting him like NP3 or something because you were going to use him as your main quick farmer. He'll still put in work for you, still very, very strong. Now, Okita Alter, right? She's basically here to cover for like all of this just generic good quick looping people, right? Like if you're like, where's Karen? Where is the quick version of Space Ishtar? Where is Ashia Doman? Like where is X character? Like insert someone. That's what Okita Alter is here for, because I think Okita Alter is just one of the better just neutral quick farmers in the game, right? Like for not being an extra class servant that you could bring to everything, I think she's like one of the better ones, right? If not like the best normal one. I think she's so good. I don't think she's overhyped at all whatsoever. I was really surprised when she initially released on JP that more people weren't as hyped about her because she's just good. Like she's just straight up just really, really solid. Ruler Scotty is here because you can do a very interesting thing with Ruler Scotty. So kind of how things work over on JP right now is you can do like double Ruler Scotty because you get that extra little bit of quick, which means you get a little bit of extra NP gain, but then you could plug suit in for another Scotty. But with Ruler Scotty, instead of doing that, you can do like double Ruler Scotty, bring the friend Scotty, or have your own Scotty, and then you could plug suit in for like an Oberon or something, right? Whereas like, say Dantes, right, has to have double Ruler Scotty, plug suit in a normal Scotty. This Ruler Scotty, you can already do that because you already have your Ruler Scotty, the friend Ruler Scotty, your own Scotty, and then you could plug suit in for someone like Oberon for just extra damage, right? So you can do interesting setups, right, where you can get that little bit of additional extra whatever, like even plug suiting out for like an Atalanta, right, for just like a wave 3 like really big extra 50% quick buff or something. She has that ability to do very interesting setups because she herself is the support and the looper. And then Rikyu has to be here because she's basically the Ibuki for quick, right? Like she's the berserker that like pretty much can loop everything, right? Like her damage numbers look a little bit low, but you got to remember that she's basically super effective against everybody, right? And so as I was kind of calculating things out, I was like, I think I have a preference for Ruler Scotty, like using her for farming. I think I really, really like her as the best person right now, but that's because I really like the setups you can do with Ruler Scotty and being able to just have that utility of bringing in a like phantom fourth person, right? Like an Oberon if you need extra damage. If you just need a little bit of that extra zest, right? You can bring in like an Atalanta even, just someone real small, a waiver even for just like extra attack buffs and a little bit of extra NP can be really, really nice. Not that I think you'll really need the NP because what Ruler Scotty did for quick just in general was increase everybody's NP gain. I think she made people really, really insane with that. And so everybody has an easier time farming, but I really like her. But I also can't deny that Rikyu just kind of goes above and beyond. Like Rikyu can do some really ridiculous stuff over here. I mean, if you look at like the highest numbers you can get over here, Scotty can get up to 47 with like the water battlefield and the lawful alignment buff that she's got going on. Rikyu can get up to 44, but keep in mind, this is looking at it neutrally. This is not taking in the class advantage, meaning that Rikyu at like her best looks a lot better than Scotty at her best. You might look at someone like Dantes and wonder, why is his numbers so low? Why is Dantes not looking super great? Well, you got to remember that Dantes over here has the 1-turn attack buff over here, and you're going to save that for the final node because that's where the beefiest enemies are. Now, thankfully, he's not going to struggle too much without this for getting like overkill and everything, because not only was this just already broken on release, 50% NP gain when you got like a billion hits on your NP, and your natural NP gain is already fine enough, but then they were like, nah, let's just slap a battery on there as well. So it's not like he's going to struggle for waves 1 and 2. he should be fine at least like refunding his NP to get to wave 3, where his damage is going to look really good. Like, I don't want this to look like it's the Dante's hit piece or anything and I'm trying to make him look bad. It's like, no, it's fine, right? Because yeah, it's annoying that he's got a 1-turn attack buff that you can only really use on wave 3, but because his NP gain and everything is so good, and they even toss the battery his way, doesn't really matter that like waves 1 and 2 are a little bit lower. As long as you can just clear through them, you'll be fine, and then you'll just absolutely clap up the last wave. That's why Dante's still actually has some value, right? That's why he's still pretty good, because he could just do a lot of damage on wave 3. And like, if you ain't got none of these extra bonuses that these other characters have that like kind of push them above Dante's, he's just gonna look the best, right? Because he's just doing more damage to them, right? Just straight up. Even when like Scotty over here has the water side battlefield, he's still out damaging her, right? He's still outclassing. Like even with the 2 quick cards pre-NP for Yugioh, he's still outclassing her. Although I would have to recheck the math on that times the Berserker class mod if she still out damages him. At that point, that I'd have to check up on. But yeah, it's why Dante still holds up, and I think he's still really good. It's also why, as good as much praise as I'm giving Okita Alter over here, and as much praise as I give Scotty, they're just really consistent, which I really like. I like my good, consistent numbers. I like knowing what I need to expect. Okita Alter, unfortunately, just doesn't have anything extra, right? Like, I did that Amakusa video where I was talking about how I think he needs like a special damage mod or something to kind of push him above and kind of keep him up to par with some of the more modern servants. I think Okita Alter needs something along those lines. You know, I don't care what kind of buff they decide to give her, what special damage mod or whatever. They just need to give her something, right? Because these numbers are good and consistent, but it's like, not only is it less than Summer Scotty over here, who has the added buff of also being the buffer and the looper, right? So she's doing like double rolls, but she can even look even better if she's getting like lawful alignment, which is not a bad special damage mod to have, right? Like, you know, like being able to fight like lawful evil, lawful good people. It's a decent chunk of servants. Waterside battlefield, very decent, because, you know, you'll occasionally get like that kind of battlefield you can kind of take advantage of, but the lawful thing is probably what you're going to see a little bit more consistently, and that's already going to take her from already being better than not Saber Alter, but Okita Alter over here, but then it's going to push her even further beyond that. But I think ultimately everybody just kind of folds to Yugioh. If I'm being honest, as much as I really want to say that I think Ruler Scotty is the best one here, and I think that, oh, she's so superior because of the utility and the tech that you can do with her, because I do like my servants that can do that. I like being able to do interesting things and like interesting setups. Yugioh just doesn't care. Like, for Yugioh, it's like, dog, the double Ruler Scotty plus plug suiting into 1 Scotty, it's gonna be fine. Like, she's gonna clear anyway. And then just look at everything you can do with her. She's just so insane. The fact that she's overcharging herself. She's got a special damage mod against Man. And Man, let me just pull this up because it's so good. Man attribute is such a good special damage mod. And especially, again, I always say it, because she's a berserker, she can fight everybody here. And not just these guys. These guys as well. Soldiers, like Amazon people, these weird ghost dudes. Like, these are common enemies you're going to see in fights. Lord help you if you're in a Gouda event, she's gonna absolutely crush the farming for those. And to be honest, we get at least like one of those a year, so you can always expect that she's gonna absolutely demolish one event, and then just specific nodes, like, she's gonna absolutely trash. But unlike other servants, like, say, well, I can't think of any off the top of my dome right now, but let's say you have like an AoE Saber or something that's like, oh, it's really good against Man attribute Lancers, right? It's like, well, if there's an archer node that's Man attribute, they're just up a creek. They can't do anything. But Yugioh doesn't care. She could farm every node that has all of these crazy people on them, and then she can also just bop any of these servants over here. I think it makes her so insanely good, right? And it's the reason that I think she kind of pushes a little bit beyond a Ruler Scotty for me, even with Ruler Scotty having that little bit of extra that neat tech that you can do where you can like plug suit in an additional person because you're using her as the looper instead of plug suiting her out for another Scotty. You can plug suit out for someone else. The lawful thing, while it is nice, it just ain't Man attribute, dude. Like, this is nice. You can hit a lot of like decent servants here, but I think the problem is that, yeah, she can hit them all neutrally, and it is a decent chunk of people. It ain't all these servants that you can hit for free, except for what, these two right here, because, you know, berserker type disadvantage against foreigners, but you also get to hit normal dudes. So your like waves 1 and 2 could also be insane, right? Like, you could be hitting this level of damage, which is like on par with Dante's third turn. Well, it's actually going to be higher because of her Berserker class mod, but you get what I'm saying. And you could be hitting that on all 3 nodes because like the enemies are a man attribute, like they're just random soldiers or something. It's what I think just kind of pushes Rikyu above the other ones. It's just so insane. It's way too good. And then you can just make it even better, right? Like, because you can control what cards you have, right? If you're not aware, if you're like, well, I mean, the 2 card things, is that really consistent? Well, in FGO, you have your deck of 15 cards, right? You have, each character has their own 5 cards, you know, as you can see, just for people that don't know, you have your 5 cards here, right? You got 3 servants on the field, you have 15 cards. You can control what cards you see, because once you play the card, if I guess if that's the right way of saying that, once you play the card, you don't see it until you've used all the cards or all the cards have been shown. So you can kind of control what you're going to get, right? You could kind of control, what cards you'll see, so you can consistently kind of like get to a point where you can start seeing your quick cards more often. But even then, do you really need it? Probably not, because you're just going to obliterate them anyway. Like, if Dante's is fine doing that neutrally, if he could still farm just fine, doing less damage than her with like the man thing, she'll be absolutely fine. She'll absolutely cook. The only thing that, like, I guess Rikyu can look like really bad in is like if you just don't get anything, you don't get anything over here, her damage can look a little bit plain. But even then, it's kind of shored up a little bit by the fact that she's a Berserker. And again, if this is fine, then this is fine, because this is going to outdamage this because this is a Berserker, right? She's going to do more damage. So it's like, Rikyu's insane. She's crazy. Again, I feel like it's just because Quick is kind of dead in the water right now, but like when Okita Alter came out for summer, people weren't all that excited on the JP version. It was like, oh yeah, another Quick person that we're not really going to use. You know, we're kind of in like the age of, you know, arts and buster farming. Like, who really cares about, you know, Quick at the moment? And then Rikyu comes out and it's like, yeah, she's really good, and we have like Summer Scotty now to really kind of revitalize Quick, but Buster is kind of trancing everything right now because of 90++ nodes, and Buster's kind of like the best way to deal with that, or Tyra for some of those nodes, because they put a lot of Genji enemies on those, but that's a whole other topic for a different day. But yeah, I think Quick is like subtly, like low-key, they've got like really good options out here, right? Because there's other people, again, that I didn't put on here, like Parvati I didn't put on here. She's really good. Lancelot's really good. Doman can be really good. Even though he's an alter ego, it can be a little bit suspect on mixed class nodes, but he's really good. I mean, you can use Karen, who, even though Karen I'm not the biggest fan of using as a looper, the fact that she has like all of her skills giving her NP, she just like brute forces her way through it, and she does a lot of damage, right? I mean, even Space Ishtar can do quick farming, but she's not very good at it. It's very hard for her to do it, but a little bit easier now that we have Summer Scotty, who gives you extra quick so that you can actually get more NP gain in your quick cards. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If I were to rank them, I'd probably go like 1, 2, 3, 4 probably. It's probably how I would do it, because I would probably put Dante's above Okita Alter just a bit, just because the third wave is probably going to be the most important one for you to have the highest damage. Like, she could definitely miss out a little bit on third waves, especially at like NP1. Because this might not be good enough. Like, she'll look better on waves 1 and 2, but waves 1 and 2 are usually like baby food anyway. They're usually not that bulky anyway, so it doesn't really matter that damage is lower. This is what really matters. I'm like clearing that last node and really getting those consistent 3-turn clears. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And yeah, look, maybe there was like one servant I just forgot to put on here, or forgot to mention, that you're like really adamant about. You can let me know in the comments down below. You'd be like, why didn't you put this guy on here? Why is Atalanta not mentioned in here? It's like, okay, yeah, Atalanta's also decent. You can use her for farming if you want. But let me know all that in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late guys.